For thousands of years, the Titans had ruled the galaxy with an iron grip, their power unmatched and their technology far beyond the reach of any other species. No one dared to challenge them, for they were not only strong but ancient. Their history stretching back beyond the memories of stars. Entire star systems bowed under their control, their vast fleets casting shadows over planets like dark clouds. Their presence alone was enough to silence rebellions and crush any spark of resistance before it could flare. When their scouts first detected signs of a small, seemingly insignificant species living on a distant, quiet world, the Titans barely spared it a thought. The planet was on the edge of explored space, overlooked and considered unimportant. Its inhabitants were young, in cosmic terms humans, as the scouts learned a species still struggling to survive and grow. To the Titans, humans appeared weak, their technology primitive, and their culture barely scratching the surface of what was possible. The Titans expected this would be just another easy encounter, a chance to show their strength and remind a new species of their place in the galaxy. But curiosity, a rare feeling for the Titans, took hold. Something about humanity's strange broadcasts, their determination to explore space despite their obvious disadvantages, and their refusal to hide from the stars, caught the attention of the leaders. They decided to send a delegation, a fleet of mighty ships, shining with power and history, to make direct contact. The Titans approached the planet with confidence, their ships dwarfing the tiny human satellites and probes that orbited the blue world. Below, humans watched the sky with a mixture of fear and wonder, unsure if the giant ships were friends or foes. The Titans expected submission, or at least awe. They had seen countless species fall to their will without a fight. But when their first communication reached the humans, it was met not with trembling silence, but with bold, clear voices speaking not of surrender, but of curiosity and cautious pride. The humans did not grovel or beg. They asked questions, simple, yet strange to the Titans, about the nature of power, the meaning of freedom, and the limits of control. The Titans, used to obedience, found this unsettling. Their history was built on control and order, not on questions that challenged their very existence. The delegation landed on the planet in a controlled display of strength, their massive forms casting shadows over human cities. Yet, instead of panic, the humans gathered, some curious, some defiant, all watching with eyes full of hope and fear. The Titans tried to intimidate them with demonstrations of power-showing weapons that could destroy cities, technology that could bend space and time, but the humans responded not with submission, but with questions and arguments. It was as if the humans saw the Titans not just as rulers, but as beings to be understood, not feared. This response confused the Titans. How could such a small, seemingly fragile species hold its ground? What strength did they hide beneath their soft voices and fragile bodies? The leaders of the Titans began to see something they had never seen before, a spark of something different, something unpredictable and dangerous in its own way. Over the following days, as the two species exchanged words and ideas, the Titans' confidence began to waver. Their scouts reported that humans were not only unafraid, but had an energy that no other species had shown before, and unbreakable, will to survive and grow no matter the odds. For the first time in millennia, the Titans were forced to reconsider their assumptions. They had met many species in their long rule, and none had ever questioned their dominance openly. Yet here were humans, a young species with old dreams, challenging the natural order of the galaxy. The delegation returned to their ships, bringing reports of the strange and fascinating species that seemed so fragile but was full of fire. The Titans, who once thought of themselves as gods among the stars, now found themselves intrigued, and for the first time, uncertain. What began as a simple mission to demonstrate power had turned into a puzzle, a mystery they could not yet solve. As their fleet left orbit, leaders whispered among themselves that humanity might change everything that the history of the galaxy could take a turn no one had expected. When the massive ships of the Titans finally hovered above the bustling cities of Earth, the people below looked up with a mixture of awe and defiance that no one could have predicted, from the towering skyscrapers to the small villages. Eyes watched the giant shadows cast across the land, and hearts pounded with fear, curiosity, and an unyielding hope. Unlike every other species the Titans had encountered in their long reign, humans did not bow or hide. Instead, they gathered together, sending voices into space that were bold, questioning, and full of confidence. It was a strange sound to the Titans, who had grown accustomed to immediate submission or silent fear. Humans asked difficult questions that were not just about power, but about meaning, about freedom, about what it meant to be alive in such a vast universe. They questioned the Titans not as gods, but as beings who might be flawed, or at least open to understanding. This fearless curiosity baffled the Titans more than any weapon or technology could. They looked down at the humans and saw something unexpected, a spark that did not fit the pattern of weakness they had assumed. The humans' technology was primitive compared to the Titans' star-forging machines and weapons that could crush planets. But technology alone was never the full story. The humans displayed creativity that was unlike anything the Titans had encountered. They crafted solutions not through sheer force, but through ideas, imagination, and quick thinking. Their unpredictability was what truly unsettled the Titans. Humans could not be predicted or controlled easily. They adapted rapidly, learned quickly, and when faced with challenges, they did not retreat. They fought in ways that were not just physical, but mental and emotional. This unbreakable spirit was a force in itself, one that no ancient empire had ever faced. The leaders of the Titans met in their great chambers aboard their flagship, discussing the surprising reports from their envoys. Some grew impatient, wanting to crush this nuisance quickly, but others felt a strange pull toward these small creatures. They wondered if there was something more to humans than mere physical strength or advanced weaponry. Perhaps the galaxy had room for new kinds of power, power born from hope, from stubbornness, and from a refusal to accept fate. So, rather than launching an immediate assault, the Titans chose to observe. They sent smaller ships to circle the Earth, listening to human transmissions, watching their actions, and studying their societies. They saw a species filled with contradictions, violent yet compassionate, fragile yet determined, reckless yet deeply thoughtful. The humans were capable of great kindness and terrible destruction, sometimes within moments of each other. Duality fascinated the Titans, who had long since lost the ability to feel such extremes. As the days passed, the humans did not falter. Instead, they grew bolder, sending messages of peace mixed with warnings, offering to learn from the Titans but refusing to surrender. Their leaders spoke openly about the future, about exploration, about the right to shape their own destiny. The Titans found themselves drawn into endless debates with human representatives. Discussions filled with passion and strong will. Each conversation chipped away at the Titans' certainty of their own supremacy. Some humans risked their lives just to meet the delegates, speaking without fear, even as massive ships loomed overhead. This courage was unlike anything the Titans had known. It was contagious, stirring unrest within the ranks of their own empire. Slowly, the fear of the humans was replaced by a strange respect, and curiosity blossomed into fascination.
The Titans
Began to see humanity not as a simple, weak species, but as a puzzle to be solved and a challenge to be met. The galaxy, which had seemed so orderly and controlled, suddenly felt unpredictable, alive with new possibilities. The humans, for their part, did not know if the Titans would destroy them or accept them, but they refused to show weakness. They spoke of unity, of learning from each other, and of standing together against darkness and oppression. Voices reached far beyond Earth, inspiring other species who had long suffered under the shadow of the Titans. Stories of the humans' bold defiance spread like wildfire, giving hope where there had been none. As the Titans watched and listened, they realized that this young species had already begun to change the course of history. The simple act of standing tall, of asking questions rather than bowing, had sparked something far greater than anyone had imagined. It was clear to the leaders now that humans would not be another footnote in their vast empire. They were a force that could not be ignored. And as the stars watched silently, the galaxy waited to see what would happen next. Would the Titans crush this rising flame? Or would they learn to respect a new kind of strength born from courage, hope, and the unyielding will of humanity? The Titans, confident in their power and ancient wisdom, believed it would be simple to bring humanity under their control. They sent a formal message, offering humans a place within their vast empire, a chance to live in peace as subordinates. Protected but stripped of freedom. The offer was clear: obey and live under the Titans' rule. Resist and face destruction. Da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da. But humans did not hesitate or negotiate. With a firm and united voice, they refused outright, rejecting the idea of being ruled or controlled by anyone. This refusal shocked the Titans, who expected compliance or at least fear. Instead, humanity's answer was a declaration of independence that echoed through the stars. What followed was not the swift conquest the Titans had planned, but a series of skirmishes and battles across space that tested both sides in ways neither had imagined. Humans, with their limited technology and smaller fleets, could not match the Titans in raw power. But they fought with a different strength, one born of cleverness, creativity, and a deep, unyielding will to survive. They used guerrilla tactics, striking where the Titans least expected and vanishing before overwhelming forces could respond. Their ships were smaller and less powerful, but faster and more agile, designed to outthink rather than outgun their enemies. On the ground and in space, humans engineered surprising weapons and defenses from what they could find, turning old technology and natural environments into traps and weapons. Each battle was a lesson, each loss a motivation to improve. Titans, though mighty, grew frustrated and intrigued. They realized that humans did not fight with only weapons and force. They fought with their minds and hearts. Humans' determination was unlike any challenge the Titans had faced before. They were not soldiers following orders blindly, but thinkers who adapted quickly, finding new solutions and never giving up hope. As the conflict dragged on, humans inspired other species under the Titans' rule who saw that resistance was possible. Secret alliances formed, and whispers of rebellion spread quietly through the galaxy. The Titans began to feel that their control was slipping, that their ancient power was being tested in a way they had never experienced. Their commanders met in urgent councils, debating how to respond to this unexpected threat. Some argued for overwhelming force to crush humanity once and for all. Others warned that such actions would only fuel rebellion and push more species to rise up. The humans' refusal to surrender was not just a challenge, but a spark lighting, a fire in the hearts of many who longed for freedom. Meanwhile, humanity's leaders coordinated their efforts across worlds, uniting scientists, engineers, and fighters in a shared cause. They believed that victory was possible not because they were the strongest, but because they were the most determined. Every defeat brought lessons. Every small victory brought hope. Their spirit grew stronger with each passing day, a force that could not be broken by sheer power alone. The Titans, watching closely, began to respect their opponents not only as worthy enemies, but as a new kind of force in the galaxy, one that combined courage, intelligence, and a refusal to accept fate. Battles became not just fights for territory, but clashes of wills, where strategy, belief, and heart mattered as much as firepower. The conflict challenged old ideas about strength and power, forcing the Titans to reconsider what it meant to rule. As the war continued, the balance shifted slowly. The Titans still held more territory and might, but humanity's spirit spread like wildfire. Their courage inspired hope in others, changing the very fabric of the galaxy. And through it, all the humans never lost sight of their goal, not conquest, but freedom to shape their own destiny. The Titans realized that this war was not just about control, but about respect, understanding, and the power of an idea that could change the course of history forever. As the echoes of humanity's defiance spread across the vast reaches of the galaxy, a wave of hope began to swell among the many species long oppressed by the Titans' iron rule. Stories of humans standing firm against the mightiest empire inspired those who had once believed resistance was impossible. Secret meetings and whispered plans ignited on distant worlds where the shadow of the Titans had cast a dark silence. For centuries, this new spirit of rebellion did not go unnoticed by the Titans themselves. Their once unshakable control started to falter as small groups of fighters, rebels, and freedom seekers joined forces under humanity's banner. Alliances formed across species lines, uniting beings with very different pasts, but a shared desire for freedom and a future beyond submission. The Titans, proud and ancient, had expected a swift end to the conflicted demonstration of their power that would remind all of their place. But the galaxy was changing faster than they could control. Meanwhile, humanity's scientists and explorers, driven by their unyielding curiosity, uncovered secrets buried deep in forgotten ruins scattered across remote star systems. These ruins, remnants of civilizations lost to time, held advanced technologies and knowledge that had been hidden for millennia. Unlocking these secrets was not simple. It required teamwork, ingenuity, and an understanding of ideas long forgotten. But humanity's determination pushed them forward, and with each breakthrough, they gained tools that could rival the Titans' mighty machines. New weapons, shields, and energy sources emerged from these discoveries' technology, not just powerful, but adaptable and suited to humanity's unique style of fighting. With this newfound strength, humans leveled the playing field, surprising even their fiercest opponents. Battles that once seemed hopeless shifted in their favor as they used ancient knowledge combined with their own creativity. The Titans, once confident of an easy victory, found themselves facing challenges unlike any they had encountered before. Their fleets were met with unexpected defenses, their plans disrupted by tactics born from both old secrets and fresh ideas. More than just military strength was at play. The very idea of control was being questioned and dismantled by a species that refused to accept the natural order. Within the Titans' halls of power, unease grew. Debates turned to desperation as commanders realized the conflict could no longer be won by force alone. The humans had ignited something far greater, movement that threatened to reshape the galaxy's future. Some Titans advocated for ruthless measures to crush the rebellion, but others feared that such actions would only strengthen the humans' resolve and widen the resistance. The empire that had once seemed eternal now faced the reality of change. Throughout the galaxy, the tides turned. Planets once silent under the Titans' yoke became battlegrounds of rebellion and hope. The alliance of species united by humanity's courage pushed forward, their combined strength a force the Titans could no longer ignore. The galaxy's old order began to crumble, placed by a new era defined by the courage to stand up and the hope for a better future. As the stars looked on, the greatest empire in history faced the might of a species that had taught the galaxy a powerful lesson. Strength comes not only from power or weapons, but from the will to fight, the spirit to hope, and the courage to change the course of history after years of conflict that shook the very foundations of the galaxy. The war between the Titans and humanity reached a turning point where endless battle gave way to a fragile peace. Neither side had won through sheer force. Destruction had been widespread, and the cost of victory too high for either empire or species to bear. The Titans, powerful beyond measure and ancient in their rule, found themselves unable to crush a spirit that refused to break. Humanity, though smaller in numbers and resources, had shown a strength beyond weapons, a strength born of hope, resilience, and an unwavering desire for freedom. In the midst of this uncertain calm, leaders from both sides came together, not as enemies ready to finish the fight, but as representatives searching for a way to end the suffering and create a future where coexistence might be possible. Negotiations were tense, filled with moments of distrust and the weight of old wounds, but also with surprising moments of understanding. The Titans, long used to ruling without question, faced a new reality where respect for another species had become necessary. They acknowledged that humans were not just survivors, but equals with a unique power to inspire and unite. This respect was not given lightly. It was earned through years of resistance, sacrifice, and the refusal to bow to oppression. Humanity, too, entered the talks with cautious optimism. knowing that the path to peace required compromise, and the strength to forgive. The truce that was finally agreed upon was more than a pause in battle.
Oh.
It was the beginning of a new chapter. The Titans agreed to withdraw their fleets from many occupied systems, while humans pledged to build their civilizations not through conquest, but through collaboration and mutual respect. This agreement shocked many across the galaxy and empire. That had seemed unstoppable, now humbled, and a young species that had once been dismissed, now recognized as leaders of change. With the war behind them, humanity turned its focus to rebuilding and expanding its place among the stars. They did not seek to dominate, but to explore and to share knowledge, offering friendship to those who had suffered under the Titans' rule. Their vision was one of cooperation, where diverse species could come together to face common challenges and build a future where no one needed to live in fear. The galaxy itself began to change as old borders faded and new alliances formed, united by the hope that had been kindled by humans' refusal to accept defeat. The Titans, too, evolved. Some among them embraced the new era, seeing that true strength came not from control, but from trust and partnership. Others struggled with the loss of power, but the change was unstoppable. History had been rewritten by a species that had refused to bow, proving that courage and heart could topple even the mightiest rulers. As new generations grew up under the light of peace, the stories of the war became legends, a reminder that even the smallest voice can echo across the stars and that freedom is worth any cost. The galaxy, once divided by fear and power, was now a place of possibility and hope. And in the midst of it all stood humanity, not as conquerors, but as pioneers of a new era where every species could dream, explore, and thrive together among the endless stars.